Hello, and welcome back to the Follow Your Spark podcast. It's your host, Gina Casbarro, and I'm coming on for a solo episode today all about how to develop your intuition so you can trust your path. This topic feels so important to me right now because I feel like we are in an age of the world, society, culture where so much is changing so fast. And in any moment of change, in any moment of uncertainty, in any moment of transition, I know that can feel really unsettling, scary, terrifying, and the brain can have all kinds of feelings in response to that. And there is nothing that has helped me more in life when it comes to navigating uncertainty, taking leaps of faith, moving through change and transition than learning to listen for my intuition, to trust it, and to feel more guided and supported on my path. So, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So, if you are in any moment of your life where you are navigating uncertainty, where you feel like you wish you could feel more guided, you wish you could trust yourself more deeply, even as you navigate the unknowns in your life, this conversation is for you. First, we're going to talk about what is intuition, and then we're going to talk about how to develop it, why it can be so hard sometimes, and what can actually help you on your path. All right, you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so what is intuition? For me, when I think about intuition, I think of this inner knowing. It can feel like a call, it can feel like a spark, it can feel like a nudge, it can feel like clarity about something, and you don't know why you feel clear about that, you just do. People have described it as a gut feeling, a heart feeling. You can feel it often in your body as a sensation, something that feels like a deep yes for you, something that feels like a deep no for you. It goes beyond the logical rationalization. And this is why sometimes I feel like it can be hard because the brain comes in and wants all the logic. It wants the explanation. It wants to know, why do you believe that? Give me the evidence, give me the proof. And intuition doesn't need evidence or proof, it just knows. So when I think about navigating uncertainty, intuition has helped me tremendously to be able to just trust the next step on my path and let go of needing to have everything figured out, needing to have everything perfectly orchestrated and in control, and to really move with the flow and the current of life and trust where it's leading me and trust my feet to walk that path. I've talked about this many times in many other episodes of the importance of harmonizing both logic and intuition. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes also if you want to dive deeper into that. I'm not going to get as deep into that in this conversation. Today, I really want to talk about how to develop your intuition and what can get in the way of that. So that's what I think about when I think about intuition, this inner knowing, this call, this pull that invites you forward on your path or offers you a level of clarity or knowing or insight. So, of course, because today's conversation is all about intuition, I wanted to use oracle cards to allow my intuition to guide me, to share with you what would be most supportive right now. So I pulled an oracle card for every kind of topic of this conversation. So I pulled one for what is intuition. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see this. The card that I pulled is called the Creator. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, the image is this artist paintbrush and this beautiful watercolor background of all of these colors. So I'm going to read to you a little snippet of this Creator card. So it says, the artist, the alchemist, the innovator. The creator is not intimidated by darkness or lack. They know that from the void, creation inevitably emerges. With meager, minimal, and outlandish materials, the creator reveals a new image. So I want to pause here and just say when it comes to intuition, this says they are not intimidated by darkness or lack. And I think about this so often with intuition because I believe intuition comes from the void. It comes from the unknown. It comes from spirit. It comes from your heart. And so often when we're in moments of wanting and craving deep trust, you might feel like you're in the void. You might feel like you're in the unknown and craving some sense of stability and support and something to hold on to. So, intuition is not afraid of the void. They know that creation inevitably emerges from that place, from the womb, from the darkness, and they trust that. And it says, with meager, minimal, and outlandish materials, the creator reveals a new image. They make the empty room resonate with healing sounds. They generate bounty from seed that others tossed away. So it's really intuition, I believe, is helping us tap into that creative force inside of each of us. We are here on this planet to create our lives, to create ourselves. And intuition, I believe, can help us tap into that vital life force creative energy and bring something to life that didn't exist before. So that's another piece of intuition that feels really important. And it says, though generative, this archetype annihilates preconceived notions of what is possible, leaving unexpected openings in the wake of its destruction. The creator does this by first being absolutely present to what is, not imagining or wishing things were different, and second, trusting that a force greater than themselves awaits constant collaboration. Whether we call it nature, God, goddess, Shakti, or divinity, it remains nameless. It is the creator's lifelong companion. And that last sentence, especially, is how I view intuition. It is my lifelong companion. As the creator of my life, it is this tremendous support system and guide that can help me navigate this unknown path. And I think sometimes some misconceptions that people might have about intuition is that it always feels good. You know, your intuition, where it's guiding you, it's always going to feel like sunshine and rainbows and amazing. And oftentimes our intuition is leading us down uncertain paths, and that doesn't feel good. And it says, though generative, this archetype annihilates preconceived notions of what is possible, leaving unexpected openings in the wake of its destruction. So for me, you might get an intuitive nudge or knowing that maybe a job that you're in right now isn't aligned for you, or a relationship that you're in right now isn't aligned for you. And when it comes to intuition, it invites us to face that truth, to face that inner knowing. And again, that can often be terrifying, because even if we don't like something, even if we know that job is not serving us, even if we know that relationship is unserving us, our brain doesn't want to go through upheaval. It doesn't want to go through change. So trusting your intuition is also building up your sense of trust and ability to navigate that process and believe that it's for your highest good, that there's a reason to go through any pain, any discomfort that you might feel in the face of making that change. And it invites you to trust yourself, to trust your abilities, to trust your capability of navigating that. So, yeah, intuition doesn't always feel good, and it often reveals a deep knowing that maybe we've been avoiding because we don't want to face it, because it would feel painful. So, intuition is that invitation to face that inner truth with love, with compassion, with honesty, with courage. Yeah, and this card also represents a lot of curiosity and playfulness and light and joyful. Intuition, of course, can also be that, and really opening up to this expansive, supportive energy that is the lifelong companion of the creator. So I loved that card so much. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is why listening to your intuition can feel so hard. I think, first of all, because many of us were not trained how to do this. So I think that some people might believe, oh, intuition is some mystical superpower that some people have and some people don't. And really, I think of it as a skill, as a language of something that we can learn, something that we can develop. And just like any other language, it takes practice. It takes consistency. It takes really working with it to learn it and to feel more comfortable practicing it and have it become more second nature. I also think it can be challenging to listen to our intuition because it's not always the loudest voice in the room. So often, what can block our intuition or block our ability to hear our intuition are all of the fears, doubts, insecurities, stress, all the distractions of everyday life. So if you think about being in a room, all of those other people might be screaming, all of the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the day to day obligations and responsibilities, the busyness of everyday life, all of those voices could be very loud. And intuition is maybe off in a corner somewhere, or maybe in the center of the room, surrounded by all of those voices, and they're speaking quietly. They're speaking softly, or maybe they're even vibrating some kind of energetic frequency that you'd have to be in tune with them to even pick up. So I feel like a lot of people are clouded by all of those other layers that make the water murky, or the vision feel unclear. So we have to learn to quiet those other voices, to quiet the doubts, quiet the fears, quiet the insecurities long enough to tune in and listen to that voice of intuition underneath all of those other layers. So that is also a skill, learning how to notice the draining thoughts in your brain and really give life to the supportive thoughts and create time and space to quiet the mind as well, and to be able to drop into the still waters underneath the surface of all the chaotic waves long enough to hear intuition. So again, like I said, I believe that intuition can be so hard because many of us were not trained how to listen to it, and that there's all these other layers on top of intuition, all these other things that muddy our waters, muddy our ability to hear and listen, that get in the way of tuning into that. So I pulled another card asking about why is listening to your intuition so hard? And I got this card called the Lover. And it has an image of a swan, this beautiful kind of like sunshine image. And the Lover says, the heart, the beloved, the devoted. It says, pulsing through the heart of the lover is gratitude. The lover appreciates and experiences the world through the senses, reveling in beauty, song, art, music, sense, and sensuality. This energy awakens at the tip of our tongue when we taste the sweetness of honey, kiss a lover, or speak gentle words to a child. So I want to pause here again. It's like what I'm hearing in this card is it's all about presence. It's all about savoring this moment. It's all about gratitude. So again, if we're in a state of mental chaos, if we're in a state of busyness, if we're in a state of rushing, it can be very hard to be present to and hear the voice of that lover. And when I think about intuition, oftentimes I've described this to many clients and friends, of I can see it as like an imaginary friend or a lover, an imaginary friend, an imaginary lover who's just sitting next to us, waiting to be seen, waiting to be heard. And if you can imagine you're at dinner with someone, a friend, a lover, and you're on your phone, distracted, they're trying to talk to you, and you're just like, yeah, okay, yep, you're like barely paying attention. That person is likely not going to want to share that much. They might even stop talking and see if you even notice, which maybe you won't because you're scrolling or whatever it is. So, intuition, I feel like, responds the same way. The more presence we give it, the more attention we give it, the more we invite it in, the more it wants to speak to us. So you can imagine, I think about this too with intuition. When you're developing any kind of intuitive connection, maybe you want to develop a relationship with the moon. Maybe you want to develop an intuitive relationship with your home. You want to develop an intuitive relationship with anything. You can think of it like building a relationship, like really letting that spirit know you are open to connect with it, that you want to connect with it, you want to get to know it, you want to be present with it. And all of a sudden, if you can imagine that now, if you're sitting at dinner and you are giving your undivided attention to someone, you are fully present, your phone is like in the car, it's not even with you, and you are listening so deeply, and they're sharing with you, and you're saying, tell me more. Tell me more. What's on your mind? What do you want to share with me? That person is likely going to open up and be so excited and grateful that you're listening and want to tell you more. So that's exactly what I think about when I think of intuition. It's like that imaginary friend. And it's not imaginary because obviously I believe it's like right there, but it's like you can't see it. Invisible, let's call it invisible friend. And when you direct your attention to it, all of a sudden it becomes visible. And I find that it just like lights up like, oh my gosh, you can see me. I'm talking to you. It gets so excited. It wants to share with you more. So all of a sudden you start getting intuitive insights and ahas and downloads from everywhere because it feels like you're listening to it. You have invited in this connection, this relationship with this lover. You are making time for it. And I know in today's society, that can feel so challenging. It can feel like we're pulled in a million different directions and our time is so strained with all of our responsibilities and obligations. So to actually give your full, undivided attention to something, oh my gosh, I feel like the impact is miraculous. And yeah, so that's again why I think listening to your intuition can feel so hard because we're so distracted by a million different things. We're not giving our attention and presence to anything oftentimes. So to really treat your relationship with your intuition like your relationship to a lover and to actually be present with it, to be grateful with it, to invite it in makes a huge difference. This card also says, the lover lingers in foreplay, aroused not by getting there, but by the slow merging of self and other. This energy is usually experienced for short periods of time, as in order to feel it, we must be fully present and awake with no expectations or rules about what should be. Rather, the lover is in awe of what the world presents, reveling in the glorious details, grateful to save for every last drop of life's offerings. So, this is something too that I think can make developing a relationship with our intuition feel hard, is that sometimes it doesn't feel crystal clear. Or I have many clients where we work on this all the time of, I ask them to track signs and track synchronicities, and we'll talk more about this later. And sometimes they're like, well, I don't know what's a sign. How do I know if that's was a synchronicity? And this card is about with no expectations or rules about what should be. So it's about, again, letting go of the mind's need to logically understand everything, to need proof for everything, and to really be able to trust if something feels like a sign, let it be a sign. And then allow yourself to reflect and marinate on that and see what other insights, what other inner wisdom starts coming through. And this is about patience. This card says it revels in foreplay. It's not about getting there. It's not about needing all of the answers and all of the how and the entire 50-year plan of the rest of your life. It's about letting the journey unfold and being present in this moment and loving this moment, embracing this moment, dancing with this moment, and not demanding more clarity than that. And really having patience and trust in the journey and trusting that whatever little sign, whatever little breadcrumb you got in this moment, that's enough. And to let it be enough and to be grateful for receiving that. Like this card says, the lover is in awe of what the world presents, reveling in the glorious details, grateful to savor every last drop of life's offerings. And that's often how I think about, or how I feel in relation to intuition, is that it leaves me in awe. And I think when you can be present to that and really see intuition, those little drops of intuition for the gift that is, there's so much awe available in that moment. Okay, so what helps this process? We've talked about what intuition is. We've talked about why listening to your intuition can feel so hard. So what can actually support you through this process? So when I think about intuition, I really think about the importance for creating the space for it to flow through, creating the container for it to flow through. Like I mentioned earlier, inviting it in, declaring to the universe, I am open and ready to receive intuition. I am willing to pay attention. I am listening. And to even set that declaration in general is incredibly powerful, of declaring to yourself, to spirit, to the universe, to your intuition, to your heart, I am open and available and listening. Just telling your brain that shifts something. And then I really find that creating the space and container for intuitive messages to flow through is incredibly valuable. Because, like we talked about earlier, I believe listening to your intuition requires presence, it requires awareness, it requires letting go of mental distractions. So by creating a specific container, a time frame of that, a ritual that helps you drop into that space, I find it helps me be a lot more present. So again, this is about using both the support of structure and flow, logic and intuition to support this process by setting aside a specific time frame on your calendar for different exercises and practices. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But just setting aside time on your calendar for intuitive practices is so incredibly valuable. Anything that helps you drop out of the mental chatter and into the heart and into your body. And like I said, I'll talk more about some tools that can help you do this in a minute. And anything that helps you create space in your calendar, in your brain, in your body, in your heart to invite in those downloads, those intuitive insights and messages is key. Another thing that helps tremendously is tracking evidence, tracking the intuitive messages that you're getting. Because again, the brain loves evidence, the brain loves proof. And when it comes to navigating uncertainty, I really like to work with both logic and intuition, because our brains and our hearts, they're both part of our body. They're both part of our being. They're both part of our psyche. We can't ignore one or the other, and they are both friends to us. And I believe that especially when they work together, they can be so powerful. So to really understand that, okay, in order to get my brain on board, in order to help myself feel calmer and more courageous and more capable in the face of uncertainty, I'm going to show my brain some evidence of what happens when I trust my intuition to walk that uncertain path. And there are a number of different ways to do this. For me, when I work with my clients, we practice tracking intuition month to month. I share a journal with them that we work on together where they can capture all of these things, really capture the signs, the synchronicities that are showing up in their life. And then we take time once a month. All of my clients come together in this group monthly spark ceremony where we look back on the past month and reflect. What were those signs that came through? What intuitive nudges did you follow? What happened when you followed them? Because this is key. There's one thing of like tracking the signs and synchronicities, which is amazing. You can take photos of things that feel like a sign. You can track notes in a notes app. You can track notes in a journal. You can do all kinds of things like that. And what I find is the next level of that is taking time to reflect and look back. So now I have 5 years worth of this journal that I use with my clients to look back on. So I have so much proof and so much evidence of what has opened up in my life from following my intuition, what I've learned, how I've grown, how it's supported my path to trust those intuitive sparks into the unknown. So anytime my brain is feeling scared, anytime I'm doubting myself, anytime I'm doubting my path, I can go back to that journal, to all of those journals, and remind myself what happens when I trust myself. What's happened in the past when I felt scared and didn't know what was going to happen. And I can see, looking back, how I navigated that, and I can take wisdom and insight from those past experiences to support me on my path moving forward. So again, the first level is tracking and noticing, and the second level is really taking time periodically and consistently to look back and reflect on the impact of following your intuition over extended periods of time. And this is one of the things that I have found so valuable, again, in being able to trust myself in the face of uncertainty. So, the card I pulled for this is a card called Thanatos, which means death in this archetypal deck. So, this card says, it is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation. But the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. So, I pulled this card about asking what helps develop intuition, what helps strengthen intuition. And this card is all about death. It's all about letting go of control. And that's a big part of intuition. I feel like the mind wants to hold on to that sense of control, hold on to that sense of knowing, oftentimes hold on to what we currently have in our lives, right? It might be the certainty of a stable job, a stable relationship. If you're in a marriage and you're getting the intuitive nudge that it's no longer aligned, that can feel really uncomfortable to think about. Of, oh my gosh, my intuition is telling me to upend my whole life. It's telling me to let a chapter of my life die, let a version of myself die. And what can help is really understanding and trusting that death is part of this process. The rest of this card says, it leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and will return to the land of the living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. So, yeah, intuition, following our intuition can sometimes feel like that. It can feel like this deep dive into the underworld and this invitation to release and surrender control, and to also trust in our ability to navigate that. And trust that when we do have the courage to face that, we are building and growing our capacity to face anything. And that, yeah, it takes courage to do that, and to be able to, again, give the mind a focus of knowing that, okay, if I follow this intuitive nudge, I understand that this process might be intense. It might, require a lot of shedding, a lot of death and rebirth, and reaffirming to ourselves that we're capable of handling this. That I see what's coming through right now is knowing that just like in nature goes through these seasons and cycles, that winter always leads to spring, and trusting that our lives, ourselves, we are a part of nature, and that we are capable of navigating those seasons and cycles of life just like nature is. And knowing that just because we're going through a moment or a period of winter, to believe that spring is coming and that rebirth always follows death. And to also have compassion with yourself through this process, and to allow moments of grief, allow whatever feelings might arise as you're navigating this process of change and transition. It's funny, I just realized something as I was pulling these oracle cards, and the way I was sharing them with you right now, I was off by like one in the themes and topics I was sharing to you. And the first card that I pulled, the Creator, was actually about why is intuition so important? And the second card, the Lover, was about what is intuition? The third card, Thanatos, Death, was about why is listening to your intuition so hard? And this fourth card was about what helps. And as I realized this in this moment, my initial thoughts, my brain was like, oh no, I messed this up. This is confusing. This wasn't the way that it was supposed to go. And like true intuitive fashion, there's always a message that can be derived from something. So what I'm getting now coming through and to share with you too is to really like let go of the fear of doing this wrong. Let go of the fear of I have to do, intuitive practices perfectly, because truly intuition is all about experimentation. It's about play. It's about inviting in messages even when the brain doesn't understand, and trusting the process, trusting that even if something felt like a dead end, if it felt like, oh, my intuition guided me here and then I got this result that I didn't want. Why did it do that? I feel like that can happen oftentimes too. And I've experienced this myself. I've seen it with other people, of feeling like, oh, I got this intuitive nudge to go in this direction, but then it didn't happen the way that my brain thought it was going to happen. It didn't produce the results that I wanted. So this is about, again, releasing control, releasing expectation, and knowing that sometimes our intuition might guide us in a different direction because there's something that we need to learn down that path, down that dead end, and that it wasn't a mistake. If your intuition guided you to something that then resulted maybe in a painful lesson, because following our intuition is not about just getting everything the way that we want when we want it. For me, I really see intuition as supporting my growth and evolution as a human being, and knowing that that doesn't just mean like I win all the time and I get what I want all the time. It means that I am in this constant state and evolution of growth. So that's really how I look at intuition, as well as guiding me towards what will support my growth and evolution. And for me, anytime I'm doing intuitive practices, I always do it with the prayer of, may this support my highest good. May I understand whatever I need to understand from this message to support my highest good in this moment. And really to trust the process and trust the unfolding, and know that I don't believe there are mistakes. I believe that everything is an opportunity to learn, everything is an opportunity to grow. And this process is all about experimentation and play and reflection and gathering information. So to really like shake off the control and the need to get this right and be open to the process. So the next card that I pulled is about apocalypse. And I'm going to let go of, needing to associate this with a certain theme and just trust that we're telling a story here and the story is unfolding. So the next card, the apocalypse, is about removing the veil of deception. It says, apocalypse indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is a lifting of the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. The old narrative breaks and a new story forms. Apocalypse energy is similar to a forest fire's devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. So again, I'm hearing similar messages of that death leading to rebirth. And I really find that developing a relationship with your intuition and learning to trust it and follow it, it takes courage. It takes a willingness to want to see, to want the veil to be lifted so that you can uncover that truth, that inner knowing underneath, and know that, yes, sometimes that might lead to big upheaval. That might lead to an invitation to do life very differently, to make big, bold changes. It can also be subtle. That's okay too. And that's why I really like coming back to the beginning of this conversation, see the importance of the invitation, the choice, the declaring to the universe, I am willing and open to see my inner truth. I am willing and open to allow this veil to be lifted and to see what's underneath. There's a power in making that declaration and believing that you're capable of receiving whatever information that is, and that you're willing to trust it and follow it. So this gets me to it. I know these past couple cards have been a little heavy. So I asked another question at the end and really asked of like, what can help people trust their intuition even when they're afraid? So the card that I pulled is the Shaman. And here's the card if you're watching on YouTube. And it says, the shaman is the magi, the sorcerer, the medicine woman. 3 archetypal ingredients constitute the shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study. Second, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed towards the healing of the self, the other, and the culture, the healer. Third, the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world, allowing psychic visions and old magic to leak into this world, the unseen. So, oh my gosh, this card feels perfect. And I want to break down a little bit of what this said. So it said, first, the shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study. So this is what comes back to the importance of developing a relationship with your intuition. And this takes consistency, this takes practice, this takes creating the container to invite that in. It takes your attention and awareness in tracking evidence and tracking signs and reflection. The more that you pour into this relationship, like any other relationship, like any other skill, the more it will strengthen. The more you will be able to trust it, the more you will develop a stronger relationship to it. So 100% being consistent in your study, in your exploration of intuition is key. The second, it says, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed towards the healing of the self, the other, and the culture. So again, when I think about intuition, what I talked about a minute ago is really seeing following my intuition as an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for my own healing. It's an opportunity and a prayer, how I use it as a prayer to be guided towards what will support my own growth and evolution so that I can show up and make the impact that I'm here to make in this world. And that's always my prayer. May this support my highest good. May it support my client's highest good. May it support my community and the people that I'm here to serve. So that's another huge piece for me when I think about intuition of it's for us. And I also see it's for the contribution that we're here to make in this world. It's for the purpose that we came here on this planet to fulfill. So that feels like a really important part of intuition as well, remembering that. And I think for me, what can help me trust my intuition, even when things feel hard and scary, is also remembering that I believe my soul chose this path and chose this role in my lifetime for a reason. When I think about the work that I'm doing and the purpose that I feel called to walk, this path is not always easy. This path of entrepreneurship, of deep uncertainty, of not having a stable income, of really creating my life, my work from the inside out and sharing that with the world, sharing myself with the world, that comes with challenges. And in the moments where my brain wants to say, this is too much, I can't, I want to give up, my intuition comes back to, I chose this for a reason. I chose this path for a reason, and everything that I'm navigating, all of the obstacles, all of the challenges, all of the struggles, everything I'm navigating, me overcoming that helps me support my clients, my community to do the same. Because for me, I am deeply called to support visionaries, creatives, entrepreneurs, trailblazers to let go of the status quo, to let go of external expectations and really develop the confidence and courage to bet on themselves and blaze their own path. So, of course, I have to be a living example of that. So, anytime I'm facing challenges on that path, I remind myself, oh, yeah, I chose this. I chose this. And anytime I'm overcoming an obstacle, I am brewing my own medicine to help others do the same. And that's honestly exactly why I'm recording this podcast right now and how all of this came to be, because I have learned to develop a relationship with my intuition as I've navigated all kinds of uncertainties in my life, as I navigated going on a year-long solo road trip in the heart of COVID, when I left a stable career to become an entrepreneur and start my own business. All of the things I've chosen to navigate in my life, the uncertain paths I've chosen to navigate in my life, that's exactly what's helped me seek out what are the tools that can help me keep going. Because if I don't figure this out, I know I'm not going to make it. So intuition has been the number one thing that's helped me to keep walking when the forest feels dark and the path feels uncertain, to trust that inner light inside of me that's guiding the way. And for you to come back to whatever that might feel like for you, of if you have a prayer to contribute to this world, to leave a legacy for your children, whatever that is, intuition can help you walk that path. So, the third thing this says is the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world, allowing psychic visions and the old magic to leak into this world, the unseen. And that's what intuition is all about. It's about having the unseen become seen. It's about inviting that old world magic into your life and believing that there are powers outside of ourselves, outside of our logical brain, that can guide us, and creating the time and space and container to develop a relationship with that and to invite that guidance in. The rest of this card says, in this way, the shaman is a master who bridges the everyday and the sacred, revealing potent power needed desperately in our time. Yet where there is power, there is shadow. So the shaman must be vigilant in studying their darkness. This card reminds us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. So again, this card says it bridges the everyday and the sacred. That's where I think about creating time and space for ritual, creating time and space for these practices amidst the everyday busyness of life. And it's talking about, again, using this power for yourself and for the world. So this felt like I said, a perfect last card to wrap this up and really share what can help trust your intuition, even in the face of fear. And there are tools for this. And that is also what I want to share with you. After going through all of this process myself, I truly believe and know and have practiced very concrete and tangible tools to develop and strengthen your intuition, which is exactly why I created a free resource to share some of these tools with you. So if you go to ginacasbarro.com/intuition, you will find a portal to help you connect with your intuition. On that page, and I recommend going to it on your computer. So on that page, if you've ever used Oracle cards, you'll see 5 different cards show up across the screen. And these 5 cards represent 5 different intuitive practices that you can start exploring right now. And when I pull Oracle cards, I will typically spread out all the cards on a table and ask my intuition to guide me to whatever message would serve me most in this moment. So you can use this website in the same way. The cards are spread out on, the page, and you can ask your intuition to guide you, which intuitive practice will serve me most right now. And let your finger kind of like drift across the screen and choose a card. So when you click on that card, it's going to reveal the name of an intuitive practice that can support you most right now. And these 5 practices I chose really don't require anything special. They are very simple to practice. So after you click on that card, you'll receive the name of the practice. And after entering your email, you'll be sent a video that breaks down that intuitive practice, like a 10-minute or less, typically video that shares how to do this. And I share more about my experience with that practice, and you'll get a whole breakdown of that practice. So I really invite you, if you want to develop your intuition, if you want guidance and support with where do I start? What do I do? What intuitive practices could help me most right now? Go to this website, ginacasbarro.com/intuition, and use this as a tool to develop your intuition, to strengthen this muscle. So once you click on the card, you'll get all the information, you'll get the video, and then make time and space in your schedule this week, this month, to really explore that practice and give yourself time and space in your schedule to do that. And once you enter your email and receive that, you'll also receive all 5 practices. So you can explore those other practices at your leisure, and you will have 5 new intuitive tools to add to your toolbox to really experiment with and see what works for you. So I cannot wait for you to explore these practices. And if you want to share your experience, if you have questions, you can always respond to any of those emails and share and let me know what's working for you, what signs opened up for you. If there's any evidence or synchronicities you want to share, I would absolutely love to hear it. So please do not hesitate to reach out. I always love hearing from people. And if you want to talk through what is your intuition guiding you towards and really explore deeper for you, what are the things getting in your way? What are the mental blocks, the disbelief, the fear that's holding you back from making progress, and what can support you to move forward? I offer free clarity calls where we can explore exactly that. In the coaching work I do with my clients, intuition is a key skill that we develop along with vision, along with the courage to take inspired action, along with learning how to harmonize both logic and intuition together. So if you are craving support in your life, if you want to develop these skills so that you can truly feel like you're making progress towards living towards your dreams, following your intuition, being courageous in the face of fear, coaching can help. So if you want to explore what that journey together could be like, go to ginacasbarro.com/clarity call to book one of those free sessions. I absolutely love connecting with people and hearing what's going on in your world. So no matter what, I am committed that you walk away from this call feeling clearer than you did before, feeling more connected to the vision for your life that's calling you forward, and to hone in on what is the inspired action you feel called to take next. Whether that ends up us being working together or another step on your journey, I am so committed to helping you feel clear about how you want to move forward on your path. So again, if that speaks to you, go to ginacasbarro.com/clarity call and let's talk. And with that, I'm wishing you so many blessings on your journey, and I'll talk to you soon.